And with that, we bring you to TIAA Banks Field in Jacksonville, Florida. The annual border rivalry between the Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs, both ranked in the top 10. The world's largest outdoor social distancing get-together is what we've got today in Jacksonville.
There you go.
But still, we'll have about 18,000 fans in here to watch these two teams play for either the 98th or 99th time. They can't even agree on that part. But what we do agree on a perennial basis, it seems that the top two teams are Georgia and Florida for so many years. That's the same story again today. And welcome to Jacksonville, everybody. I'm Brad Nussler. My partners Gary Danielson and Jamie Erdahl. You look at the top of the standings, you know that you win this game. You've got the driver's seat to the east and a trip to Atlanta for the SEC championship game. And Gary, they've been playing this thing since 1915. And I don't know if it's the year 2020 or whatever, but the stakes are high, and it seems like the anxiety's kind of high today.
It's always a great game. It's always a physical game. But this year, I think both teams look ahead of them. It's a schedule. They won't lose games. The winner of this game is going to be in Atlanta.
Well, Georgia has won 3 straight, but they got their hands full today because they face a Florida offense averaging 42 points a game.
Really is. This year, the offense and the quarterback position belongs to Florida, and they've got an offense with 3 key players. Let's start with the quarterback, Kyle Trask. He waited for his opportunity, and was he ready when he got it? 4 straight games of 4 touchdowns or more. There's a lot of good quarterback play going on in the league and around the country, Ness. No one's playing better than this guy. And today, he's going to use the weapons he has in front of him. Kadarius Toney is one of them. He has emerged. They lost 4 receivers from last year's team that are in the NFL, but Toney has replaced them very well. He is a weapon. And back the tight end. Maybe the biggest mismatch in all of college football is Kyle Trask. I don't know if they can stop him. They just need to slow that Kyle Pitts down.
The Kyle to Kyle connection, that's been the big part. Georgia can hang their helmets on having the top defense in the SEC, but they're banged up.
They really are, and you know they're going to lean on that defense to help an inexperienced quarterback. Look at it right there. They had a couple of guys that are usually run stoppers that might be important in a lot of games, but I think Richard LeCounte is the big loss in this football game. Nevertheless, they're still loaded on defense at all 3 levels. They're going to affect the quarterback from that defensive line position. They've got to put pressure on Kyle Trask. Their linebackers are great blitzers and make things happen. And the secondary, they've got 4 and 5 stars across the board. And they all are going to have to step up and help their young quarterback. He struggled a little bit lately. The last 6 quarters have not been good. I got to believe he's dying to get out and play this football game.
It's a dream for him even to be starting in this game. And before we head to the kick, we head to the 3rd member of our team, Jamie Erdahl. Jamie.
Next man up never meant so much, Brad, than to the Georgia defense today. You mentioned the onslaught of injuries they've suffered over the last week. Maybe most surprising was the news that veteran defensive back Richard LeCounte was involved in a car accident Saturday night in Athens, returning from a game, maybe one of the best in his career, being named SEC Defensive Player of the Week. LeCounte was driving a motorcycle dirt bike. He was struck by 2 cars, hospitalized in Athens until Tuesday night. He was released. He was been on the campus back at Georgia receiving treatment the rest of the week. I spoke with Kirby Smart when he arrived at the stadium. I asked, is LeCounte going to return this season? He said we're hopeful. However, his timeline is 4 to 5 weeks. Most seriously, he's dealing with bruising in that rib and lung area. I did exchange messages with Richard LeCounte today. He said he's feeling good. He's at home in Riceboro, Georgia. He'll return to the team in Athens tomorrow, but he messaged the guys he's excited to see what they can do today.
Thanks, Jamie. One of our favorite players, Richard, and we hope you get better fast, pal, and get back out on the field. Kirby Smart hasn't lost to Dan Mullen so far. Florida won the toss and deferred, so Georgia will have the football first. 70 degrees, a little bit of a breeze. Who's going to win the East? Whoever wins this one's got the inside track. And Georgia will work from the 25-yard line. So enter Stetson Bennett, the 4th. Played so well early, and then from about halftime of the Alabama game that we did until now, things have been a little bit shaky here.
It has, and you know, in that second half against Alabama, he did have to do a little bit too much. especially against a good Alabama team on the road. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks struggle. But if they keep it within the game plan, I think he'll be okay. When he gets out of it, he starts doing a bunch of stuff, he struggles.
Might want to lean on Zamir White, who came.
That'd be the plan.
Yeah, the career high 136 on the ground. He does not start in the backfield, however. Kendall Milton's in there. Georgia's got 3 tight ends. And they do have Zamir in there, too, so a full house backfield. And here is Zamir White. And Zamir White down the sideline might have a touchdown of 75 yards. Georgia leads 6-0. Whoa, what a way to start things off.
Well, somebody has to get from Florida on the outside of the formation and turn it back in, and nobody did. Right here, I think the safety, Brad Stewart, number 2, has to get outside, turned in by the corner, but that's too far out, too big of a gash. A nice shift, and give that formation change when they shifted, as Brad said, with 3 tight ends. Florida wasn't ready for it. Todd Monken with a great scheme for a start of a football game.
Wow. Career-long run for Zamir White, 75-yard touchdown.
All right, so if you're right here, you're the safety or you're the corner, somebody has to get outside of that to help for the rest of the defense. Moon gets turned in, Brad Stewart gets caught in traffic, and Zamir White is off to the races.
And what did Todd Grantham tell us yesterday? Moon and Cox have to set the edges, and they didn't set the edge very well.
I think the formation confused Moon, though. He had 3 tight ends, and he goes, okay, which one do you want me to set, Coach? Because I haven't seen this one before.
Jake Camarda to kick off for Georgia. And Florida now will work, trailing by a touchdown in the opening 12 seconds from their 25-yard line. And that means Kyle Trask, who we talked about just a couple of minutes ago. Impressive numbers, 18 touchdown passes in the first 4 games, which is an SEC record. And here's the rest of the lineup that joins him. Now you worry about Pitts, you worry about Kadarius Toney, and don't forget about this guy. If you try to double team on one side, he's not too shabby either, Trayvon Grimes.
Well, the last 2 years, Dan Mullen has started with a flea flicker and a slant to Pitts. Let's see what he deals up this time.
A handoff and a 3-yard pickup for Dameon Pierce. Set the defense for you for the Georgia Bulldogs, the #1 defense in the conference. Jalen Carter in there for Jordan Davis. And on the back end, the guy that's got to take Richard LeCounte's spot and call a lot of the signals is Chris Smith. 2nd down, a long 6. Kyle Trask flushed out of the pocket. On the run, can't find anybody, tries to go short, and it's incomplete. Nice coverage by Mark Webb. He just couldn't find anybody open.
Well, Jacob Copeland was number 15, the Florida receiver in that area, and he turned around and looked and said, was he grabbing me or not? And the official said he was not. So 3rd down, and 3rd down has been a problem for the Gators in this game. The last 2 years, first of all, they've only had 18 attempts in 2 years, and they're only 6 for 18. Yep. They can't keep the ball.
You see their last 3 meetings, 28%. They've got to get 6.5 here with Trask in empty backfield. Georgia with a stunt up front. The pass is broken up, knocked away by Lewis Seen. Seen, who was a little banged up coming out of the Kentucky game, and he makes a big play on 3rd down.
And Dan Lanning, the defensive coordinator for Georgia, even though it's a 3-man line, he dials a 5-man blitz, bringing 2 inside backers. Really good coverage of the outside of that play. That's a matchup that Georgia would like. Seen on a running back. No real worries for Seen on that play.
Jacob Finn to punt for Florida. Kearis Jackson waits back around the 20 for Georgia. Not a good punt unless he gets a good roll, and he might. On the bounce, Jackson takes it at the 30. Broke 1 tackle, got about 6 on the return.
Jackson is really good at that, saving yards on those short punts.
Yep. Zamir White switches sides with Stetson Bennett in the Georgia backfield. High snap on the rollout. It's a keeper all the way for Bennett. He's got good wheels, and he's got about 12 yards in the Georgia 1st down.
How do you get your quarterback comfortable? Well, one way is a 75-yard touchdown run. The second way is give them the ball. Let them run a little bit. So right now, you can tell that this Florida defense is off balance.
Let them get a little lather up as you look at the Gator defense. Brenton Cox, a former Georgia player. He's been waiting a year and a half for an opportunity to play in the Florida orange and blue. He's got his chance now. But his defense is back in their own territory at the 49 with a Georgia first down. Zamir White hit at the line of scrimmage. Nice job that time to bring him down. No gain. Florida, remember, because of the altercation last week with Missouri, Zach Carter suspended for the first half today, as is Powell. They'll be back at halftime. Dan Mullen lost a pretty good amount of change last week for that skirmish that started at halftime and then continued basically throughout the second half. They gave Zamir White a yard. Second down and 9.
5-man front here with Moon and Cox at the defensive end spot.
James Cook out of the backfield, makes the grab, and Cook's got a first down before he's run out of bounds at the 35-yard line. He's becoming a weapon as a receiver big time.
Sure is. A little bit of everything. Brenton Cox had an opportunity to bat this ball down coming off the right side. See number 1 right there? He gets upfield, but this time Bennett avoids the pass broken up and gets a positive play, another first down.
Getting your quarterback comfortable. Like you said, lather him up with a run. He gets a nice pass there for a first down as he settles in, and Georgia settles in at the Gator 35. Bennett out to Milton, and that one's broken up, incomplete. Nice job by Brad Stewart.
So far it's been quick throws when he's having an opportunity. No hands up in his face, and just well defended by Florida. It had to be too perfect of a pass.
Yep. Stewart led Florida in tackles last week in the win over Missouri. Nice pass break up there, forces second down and 10.
Here's that 5-man front again for the Gators. 3 inside with the 2 edge rushers.
James Cook straight up the middle. Got about 3. Stetson Bennett, who was not expected to be the starting quarterback. I'm sure all of you know the story. Fast start, and in the last 6 quarters, things have not gone so well. Bennett down the middle. On the run, DeMarcus Rosme St. John, and he's got the touchdown. Hurt at the end, I think.
Maybe the receiver and the quarterback took one. It was a late disguised safety blitz. He was free for Florida, but he didn't get there. He was so deep on the play, he never got there. That was the breakdown. Coming from the backside, right in, too late to get there from the slot. Free run at the quarterback, Bennett, but Rosemary Jack Saint for the touchdown.
I can't believe that the look on his face. He's a tough dude, man, after that landing in the end zone. And there's a good look at him, and you saw him out being taken to the Georgia locker room, and I'm sure to a local hospital from that point on.
You know, I in this type of thing, and I know the injury doesn't count, but tie kind of goes to the runner here, doesn't it? I mean, it's so close, and it was called a touchdown. Wide open on the play. Florida tries to zone blitz, and the free rusher gets there just too late. It was a big hit on Bennett as well.
Podlesny in for the point after. Up and good. Georgia has run 7 plays, and they lead Florida 14-0. Florida's had the ball 3 snaps and a punt. Georgia just over 3 minutes into the game with a 14-point lead. And they'll bring it out to the 25. 3 plays, 3 yards. Down 14. Trask, deep sideline toss. Got his man, but he dropped it. Incomplete.
And that's a great fight right there by Mark Webb. Sometimes you're going to get beat, and we saw it last week with Stingley. Keep fighting. The ball was dropped on this one, but Webb kept going with the play. Trask is going to take one of those hits. That time it was inside Malik Herring. And that's what I would kind of underline if I'm Georgia. Remember, Dan got so upset with that hit on Kyle Trask?
Right.
The best way to help the pass defense, keep hitting the other quarterback legally, but keep hitting him.
Trask is 0 for 3. 2nd and 10. They'll keep it on the ground this time. Pierce reverses his field. Nice run. First down out across the 35.
Yeah, busted play right here. Defended well by the Georgia defense. Turned back, and
Sky just opened up.
It did. Pierce goes, nothing. And this is just an athletic play. Helped by Trask a little bit right there with the block.
It looked like there were shadows and sunshine. It just went away in a hurry. A downpour in Jacksonville. But the first down for the Gators. Gators usually like wet weather. At least the real Gators. We'll see if Florida Gators do on a first down at the 35. Pierce again. Cuts it outside. Nice run. 6-yard pickup. Florida doesn't run for a lot of yardage overall, but per carry, they do a nice job on the ground.
Yeah, but it can't be as bad as it was last year. As you look at a good shot of the rain right there. Last year, it was pathetic. This year, they got to at least help out the passing game, especially as Ness pointed out, the rain here, it's not easy to throw into the wind and into the rain.
Last year, they had 21 yards on 19 carries.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not good. There's their national ranking, though, coming in. High-powered offense, playing in a downpour. Going to be a rainbow somewhere because the sun is trying to come back out while the rain drops. So does Kyle Trask. And the throw's on the money. Down the sideline, zipper. And a big play for the Gators.
Well, this time with Kyle Pitts over there, he gets a lot of attention, and then you just slip it out. Oh, kind of just pushed right off right there. Got away with one. Ran right through the defensive scene that time and down the sideline. Big play.
39 yards.
Yeah, points here, even holding on the ball, is big for the Gators. Get this into a comfortable, kind of a regular game for them now.
Right. Right on the edge of the red zone at the 20-yard line.
So look at this. 3 receivers over there and only 1 Georgia defender. Now they shift over to another one.
Trask looks that way, throws short, kind of a slow toss out there to Whittemore.
So we talked to Coach Kirby Smart as you look down on the rainbow right
Told
there.
you
That's
there'd be
pretty
one
cool.
someplace.
Yeah. And we asked about LeCount not being out there, who makes the calls, and he said, I'm comfortable with Christopher Smith. He does a good job of it. We're going to miss LeCount the way athletically, but he thinks that number 29 Smith will be able to handle the adjustments.
It was an interesting conversation, really.
Yeah.
When you consider LeCount's considered an All-American. Physically, LeCount, he said, is better than Smith, but Smith's a smart guy and he can make the calls. 2nd down and 9. Pierce does a nice job to make the first guy miss. Scene had a hand on him. He's brought down after a nice pickup, and Florida's going hurry up here.
They're hurrying up for an important 3rd and 4 here.
Need to get to the 10-yard line to try to keep this drive moving.
It keeps the defense on the field at Georgia. They're not able to substitute their dime packages. That's what they're trying to do for Florida right here. Let's see if it works for them.
Pitts is up to the top of your screen on 3rd down and 4. Trask in trouble. Lofts one across the middle. Got it on the run. Got it to Shorter for the touchdown. Justin Shorter scores for the Gators.
So interesting, when I told you they opened up the game last year with the slant to Pitts, this is the same exact formation. They're going to motion away from Pitts to run the slant, but this time Kyle Trask says, no, I think you're waiting for it. I'm coming back the other direction and making the throw to Shorter.
Shorter's 2nd touchdown of the year, and certainly one the Gators needed. McPherson in for the point after. Snaps a little high. They got the hold down, and the kick is up and good.
Ness, all the way from the start there, Florida looked like they were going to go fast. They kept the Georgia defense out there. Then they slowed down and made the right call for the big conversion and touchdown.
So McPherson to kick. Here is Jackson about a half-yard deep, and Kearis Jackson into Florida territory all the way out. Let's see where they mark it at about the 43-yard line.
Well, I hope television showed how Jackson saw the hole and accelerated right there. You know, a lot of times those kickoff guys are looking for something coming right at you. He starts out, and then right about there, he goes, oh, and he splits it and almost takes it.
57-yard kickoff return for Kearis Jackson. Here's number 4, James Cook, for about 3. You know, that tackle was made by Justin Shorter, the wide receiver, on the special teams, or it would have been a touchdown on the kick return.
Yeah, that's pretty good back-to-back plays, huh? Score 6 and save 6.
Exactly. The first 2 possessions for Georgia, you can't even draw it up like that in a dream. 94 rushing yards already, and 75 of that was Zamir White on the opening snap of the ball game. Second down at 7. Bennett fires incomplete. Nice job defensively. Jalen Johnson was the intended receiver. And now we'll start to watch Bennett. He's still working that arm, Gary.
Yes,
even
he is.
After he throws, he's kind of still loosening it up or trying.
Been there. You go, just keep me out there, coach. And it's one of the things that you can always go, let me keep throwing, coach, so I can keep it warm. And go, we weren't going to let you throw anyway, Gary, you know. So keep it warm on your own.
He's still rubbing that thing underneath his pads, too.
I think he felt it when he actually cut that ball loose that time. Now remember, one of the reasons he's in there is he manages the whole offense, all the checkoffs, getting him in the right formation. So he's an important player besides throwing the ball.
And now he's going to have to cover the ball if he can. They came with an all-out blitz. And it's 4th down.
Yeah, but he just drops the snap here. This was a good snap. We've seen bad snaps, but this was a perfect snap, and he's fortunate he's able to get it before he was tackled by Dunlap.
And he didn't need to take another hit.
No,
either,
he didn't, but you got to get the ball.
Yeah, right. That time he goes down head first. Jake Camardo will come out to punt. So what started as a drive in Florida territory ends with a 2 or 3 yard loss before they have to kick. Top punter in the SEC, Camarda. This one's going to make it to the end zone.
You never know. You kick one of those end over end, you think it's going to back up, hits the wrong way.
First down, throw out to Tony. And did his knee go down? I don't know. Monty Rice is going to make the play, though. The guy Gary was just talking about. That's not easy to keep that guy down and make the tackle in open space.
Well, he's got a bad foot, and he barely practices. He wears a boot for most of the week, so he doesn't put, any more harm to that foot. But this time he's got a fast guy, and you got a linebacker on one of the most elusive players in college football, and he makes the play. Good defense. You saw Monty on that play. He was shifted the defense, turning around to the secondary, and still did his job.
That's a lot on one play.
That's a lot on one play.
Loss at 4, second down at 14. Trask down the sideline, got it to Davis. First down as he slides into Georgia territory.
You know what you have sometimes? You just have what you call a winning throw. They can be good coverage. You can have the right defense on, but your throw is just better than their defense. And when you put the ball in those positions like that, you can score a lot of points at any level. That's what I say. There's a lot of good quarterbacking going on in the country, but none any better than Kyle Trask. They may tie him, but not better.
You see the Georgia starting quarterback still even moving his neck side to side as he heads to the locker room, and that will mean that either JT Daniels or Dewan Mathis, and Mathis warming up, so is Tony in motion. They fake it to both of them, and now deep on the sideline for Pitts, and he makes a catch. Kyle Pitts, 1st and goal, Florida.
Okay. Sometimes they're just winning throws, and sometimes they're just guys that are too good for this league. And this guy is a matchup nightmare. Goes up, he's 6'6". He stops and he adjusts the ball. He's got tremendous confidence. And when you're the quarterback, and Kirby had the elevation, but Stevenson did not. You can see in the background, Kirby did his vertical about 30 inches, but Stevenson in coverage did not.
The throw to the end zone is broken up. Intended for Copeland, and Eric Stokes got a hand on it.
I will say this. The officials are letting the man coverage players in the secondary be physical. Watch Stokes on Copeland. He's got his hands on him. They're letting him play that. I think that's a pretty good call, to tell you the truth. If you can't do that, I don't know how you can cover. Unless you got that Kirby vertical at the end.
Second down and goal. Damian Pierce is back in there. They fake it to him. Trask is going to try to do it himself, and the big guy goes inside the 3.
It's the quarterback counter. Florida and Mississippi State, and Dan Mullen has been running this, but it was with Dak Prescott and Tim Tebow, not Kyle Trask.
Just under 2 minutes to play in the quarter, and we've had a lot of fireworks. 11th play of the drive from the Georgia 2. Pierce straight up the middle. Touchdown Gators. We're an extra point away from a tie game in Jacksonville.
Well, you got to believe that Georgia defense is looking all over. Where's 84? Where's number 1? And all of a sudden, while they're looking around, boom, they're running right at you, and they make the touchdown. Good call. Georgia on defense trying to stop them. Some athletic plays. They haven't been able to do it. Some pass plays. But Florida continues to be willing to run the ball. They have not given up on the running game.
McPherson in for the point after.
You're telling me Florida wouldn't take in the first quarter 9 rushes for 46 yards? That's a huge win for them.
Remember, a team that rushes for more yards than this one has won 14 straight games. Both teams running the ball pretty well. This is Damian Pierce, his second touchdown rush of the year, and it's tied things up in Jacksonville. Damian Pierce over there on the sideline saying, "Coach, don't put me in on kick coverage, really. Give me a break."
What do you got to do to get off special teams?
He might be still going out there. Didn't have his helmet on, but I think he will join the group. So 14-point lead for Georgia dissipates in a hurry. Back-to-back touchdowns by the Gators. McPherson's kick. And this time, Kearis Jackson had to let this one go.
So they started out, things are going well for Stetson. He has a couple of runs, but on this touchdown throw, the free safety is running right at him off the slot. He doesn't realize how bad it is at first, but then he says, I got it kind of jammed there. And the more he threw, the more he felt it.
Jamie?
I wanted to add on that, Gary, that you're right. As he stood on the sideline, people started to tend to that injury. It did seem to get worse. He popped into the tent. Like I said, several trainers have come in and out of the locker room now. Stetson, still no sign of him.
And, of course, Georgia fans have been asking for a week and a half. If Bennett doesn't do it, who's next in line? JT Daniels or DeJuan Mathis? The question has been answered. Here's Burton on an end around. He's going to lose a yard, maybe 2. So
we've seen that play. We've done 3 Georgia games. This is the 3rd time we've seen this reverse play. One went big. The next one went for about 15 yards, and this one was stopped by the Florida defense. Unbalanced line with the reverse to Burton.
So DeJuan Mathis, who started the season as Georgia's starting quarterback, struggled rather badly against Arkansas, and that brought Stetson Bennett in to take over to save the day there. And now it's DeJuan Mathis at the controls on a 2nd down and 11. And try it again. And this time he broke a tackle, still going. It'll be about a yard shy of the 1st down.
Yeah, but I think Brenton Cox is down on the field. Another injury on the field, and it's Cox.
Boy.
A transfer from Georgia.
Actually started the bowl game against Texas a year and a half ago. Had to sit out last year on the transfer. Has been licking his chops to play against his old team, and he just tried to make that tackle and kind of leg whipped himself.
And I wonder if his knee came down on that play as he turned upfield for Burton. Apparently not. Good balance.
3rd down and a yard here. Again, Georgia with their backup quarterback in there. Redshirt freshman out of Belleville, Michigan. It's quick, and it's complete, and Jackson's not going to get the 1st down. Kearis Jackson about 2 yards shy. The first
It was a big tackle by Sean Davis that time. those one-on-one tackles against good athletes, and Davis made the play. Bubble screen, you got to fight upfield, make that play, and he does.
Another punt coming up from Jake Camarda. And the quarter might close before Jake hits that one. Quarter. End of one. If you expected a low-scoring game, you got the wrong channel. End of one, 14-14. We'll return to Jacksonville after this message and a word from your local station. Home Depot SEC on CBS as we head into quarter number 2 between 8th-ranked Florida and number 5 Georgia. And Jake Camarda, second straight 3-and-out for Georgia, will punt it away. Kadarius Toney is the guy he'd like to keep it out of the hands of on the other end for Florida. And he has to make the fair catch around the 15-yard line. Welcome back, Brad and Gary. Jamie's down on the field. A lot happening in that first quarter, man.
Georgia, in 10 plays, they're up 14-0.
Right.
Okay, so Florida hangs in there. Kyle Trask was Kyle Trask. He's 8 for 12. You know, it's about what he is. But the running game, a little bit of help. I think that's the difference in the football game.
And we had a Georgia receiver go down to a gruesome injury, a guy that was filling in for George Pickens. That got Georgia the 14-point lead. Gators come right back, score twice, and now they've got the ball back in a tie game.
And we still have question marks about Georgia's quarterback.
Exactly. There's the last 3 possessions. There's a 3-and-out, and then a 7-and-7. Davis.
No, look at that defense.
That draw didn't scare anybody.
Yep. With that conference, Michigan, IU, the Terps against Penn State.
Watch that funk kid again.
Yes.
Was it Minnesota last
Friday night?
Like
ran for 200 yards.
He was all over the place. Whoa! There's a wicked hit at the line of scrimmage. Loeb put it on Malik Davis.
So now we're back to 3rd down as you see that Georgia tries to get their package in. Florida goes fast.
Trask on 3rd and 10, and it is intercepted. Picked off Eric Stokes for Georgia. Coming back the other way, and he's got a convoy. Stokes, touchdown Georgia. A ball intended for Xavier Henderson, and Eric Stokes with his 3rd interception of the year, his 2nd touchdown return of the year.
I don't know if it was who it was intended to, but watch Stokes come off his man. He's on Xavier Henderson. I think he's throwing it to Toney, and he actually goes and picks it off. Sometimes when you go fast, you're not ready. And I didn't think Florida was ready. They didn't have a good read on what Georgia was doing. Trask let it go. He never really saw the defense in front of him.
Extra point is up and good. Georgia strikes again. This time it's their top-ranked defense.
Xavier Henderson took Stokes right into the throwing lane. The true freshman receiver did not know the play, and it came back and bit him.
Eric Stokes had a 30-yard pick 6 against Arkansas. He's got a 36-yard pick 6 against Florida. 21-14. Georgia and Florida playing to see who's the best in the business in the SEC East, and Georgia's just regained the lead.
Ness, we're going to take one more look at it after the kickoff, unless there's a touchdown here. But there are routes, which is an individual thing. Then there are patterns, which the whole group has to run a pattern. Remember, this was a hurry-up, and Xavier Henderson, a true freshman football player, is on the outside here on a hurry-up play. Watch him bring his man in on the play. And then right at the end of the play, Trask, as he throws it, you could see in his vision he thinks he has a completion, but he does not see Stokes coming in on the play. One other player for Florida was brought in to intercept the pass.
We still got 12-17 to go in the first half.
And what we talked about in the open is the number of athletic players this Georgia defense has. They're all over the field. You know, you beat them sometimes, but you better do it well, because they've got athletes running towards the ball and the quarterback full speed.
Here's a wheel route. Naquan Wright down the sideline for Florida. All the way down to the 25-yard line.
So Naquan Wright comes out of the backfield. He's hot. I think he has Monty Rice covering him one-on-one. Oh, a pick. Rice got picked on the play by the Florida player, the Florida receiver, and never could get back in phase on the play.
A 50-yard pickup from Trask to Naquan Wright, and it's at the 25 of Georgia. Georgia with a blitz. Trask going to the end zone. Pitts, touchdown.
My goodness.
Tyson Campbell was trying to stay with a big fella, but too much.
You want to know how college football has changed? That's how college football has changed. You've got guys that were 6'6" basketball players now playing tight end.
Pass interference, defense, number 3. That penalty is declined. The result of the play, touchdown.
Yes, a lot of people have been saying that Kyle Pitts reminds them of Travis Kelce or George Kittle, 2 great all-player tight ends in the NFL. To me, he's not. He reminds me of the Las Vegas Raiders' Darren Waller.
Oh, yeah.
The 6'6" kind of hybrid wide receiver tight end. That's how he plays the game, and that's how difficult he is to cover. I saw a game early in the year where against the Saints, he caught 12 balls for 105.
Now
a matchup nightmare.
Yep, we knew this guy was a matchup nightmare just from watching last year and then the first 4 games this year. But
it seems like a 50-50 ball when you throw it, but it's not.
That's about a 95-5 with this guy.
Yes.
A 2-play drive. 75 yards, including 25 to Kyle Pitts. That's his 8th touchdown catch of the year, and we're even again at 21. Zamir Waddick here as Jackson back for Georgia on the upcoming kick from McPherson. It might be returnable. It will be from the goal line. Jackson who went a 57-yarder earlier. Not this time. Harris gets it to about the 17, and that's it. You're wondering who the quarterback's going to be this time out. We're still waiting. Stetson Bennett's got the helmet on. He's got the team around him, and DeJuan Mathis has his helmet off. So our answer is Stetson Bennett.
So after the Alabama game, the Georgia coaches and even Todd Monken said he got a little bit out over his skis, calling a little bit too much for Stetson Bennett. Now, you know, it's a game, obviously 21-21. He has to be patient, his game plan, and not go away from it and try to do too much and try to match the passing game of Florida.
This time he's going to air it long. Got a man out there, Matt Landers.
Oh, man.
A little bit too far for him.
I thought there was a lot of jostling at the end of it. I don't know if Landers could have got there.
Was it Sean Davis that was hooked up with him?
Yes, it was. A safety out there. Landers is deep. They're fighting. They're hand checking. And he uses his arms to slow him down. If it would have been his feet, I would have said good no call. But I think his hands at the end, he reaches out and grabs.
Good.
Could have been called, I think.
This is the first time we've had a split crowd, so you can actually hear some of the noise. Georgia fans didn't like that one, the non-call. 2nd down and 10. Zamir White. Loss of a yard. Tyree Campbell makes a difference on the interior.
He did.
Our aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Some of the folks that have their boats out there, and we don't have to go very far to get to TIAA Bank Field on the banks of St. John River.
Well, Stetson has proved he can throw the ball. His shoulder's fine. Now it comes to that 3rd down situation. Let's see what Todd Grantham dials up here. Does he go to zone and try to bat a ball down? Or does he come after him?
Hasn't had a ball batted down yet, but he's had a lot of that this year so far. He's going to throw on the run here, and it's too high. Intended for Burton. Incomplete. 4th down.
You're right. It was good patience. Nice job by Bennett. Worked his way up in the pocket. That buys him an extra couple seconds. Protection's okay, but he knows he has to get out of there. And when he comes up, he finds the open player and just lets it sail by.
Yep, he knew it too. He had him open. Would have been a big gainer and a 1st down. Instead, it's Jake Camarda, Kadarius Toney for Florida, waiting back at the 20. Toney hasn't had a lot of punt returns, but when he can catch one, this will be a fair catch again. He's about good for 15 yards on the return. He has to take this one in around the 18-yard line. There's the numbers on Kyle Trask, who's up to 20 touchdown tosses on the year. He's back looking for more, going deep for more. And he's got it in stride, Malik Davis. Davis all the way down inside the Georgia 45.
Yeah, and I think that was a touchdown-saving tackle that time by Nakobe Dean, number 17. Coming out of the backfield, Dean's the middle linebacker, and they free release right out of the backfield, and he has a tough matchup. Very fortunate to get a toe tackle on that play.
And Dean was shaken up making that tackle. Florida sets up shot quickly at the Georgia 44. There is Tony's going to come into the backfield now. Trask hits, he's in the slot to the right. And it's Tony, a yard or two. Kyle Trask starting to put up big numbers here in the first half again as it rains. And the sky opens up as we test your knowledge with today's Aflac trivia question. Aflac. And here it is. Kyle Trask, one of 3 quarterbacks in SEC history with 4+ touchdown passes in 4 straight games. Who are the other 2? Well, he had 4 in a row coming in. He's got 2 here in the first half, so he's right on his per game mark. 2nd down and 9. Trask fires deep middle. Oh my goodness. Pitts didn't make the catch, and we're going to have what looks like maybe a targeting call on Seam.
I think it is.
Wow. Both guys are shaken up.
Yes, they are. Yes.
And now we got a little mix-up going on down here.
That's what the rule makers are begging to try to get out of the game. The players don't take those angles for those hits. You know, that's the way football was played for years and years and years. When you threw over the middle, that's how you stopped it and you discouraged it. But now, that's a tough one.
Yeah, the days of Jack Tatum are long gone.
Right.
Flag is down. Scene goes into the Georgia tent.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Number 16 is disqualified.
So another starter out of Georgia's secondary. He's in the tent, and he is done for the day. And meanwhile, Kyle Pitts got a huge ovation when he got up and walked out on his own power after this collision.
But even if he says, Kyle Pitts, he wants to play more, the doctors for Florida will have to examine him and say, I don't care if you want to play or not. Yep. You're going to have to pass some protocols here before we'll let you back out on the field.
So Florida at the Georgia 28. Damian Pierce got an opening off the left side. Monty Rice closed it at the 25. Scene comes out, and I think his lip is bleeding, and he's wondering if he's got all his teeth right now, but he's heading to the Georgia locker room.
Yes, he doesn't have to leave the field, so you know something else is up. A good pull right here, kick out by this Georgia offensive line, sealed outside, and a knockdown block by Stuart Reese, number 51. Good block.
With Pitts out of there, Kimari Gamble will get more time at tight end.
And he just made a good block on the last play.
2nd down and 6 just inside the Georgia 25. Play action for Trask. Going to a wide open Kimari Gamble. Touchdown, Florida.
So Ness, the conversation we had with Kirby Smart when he said, I'm very confident in the communication of our defense. We shouldn't bust. This is another bust. I mean, one guy goes in motion. For some reason, the Georgia defense can't handle it. They pass it off, and a wide open, you and I could throw that one still.
Man, you worry about number 84. He goes to the sideline, and the guy that takes his spot hauls in the touchdown pass. And Florida is in front for the first time today.
Again, a simple adjustment. One guy in motion. Remember, a year ago it was J.R. Reed. Then it was Richard LeCount. Today it's Christopher Smith. Whoever it is, they messed it up.
As you look from our pylon cam, Gamble puts the Gators in front by a touchdown. Florida's taking the lead for the first time now. On Kyle Trask's 3rd touchdown throw, this time to Kimari Gamble. As you see Kyle Pitts, who was shaken up before that touchdown pass, and he's headed to the locker room.
Yeah, that was the throw over the middle. It was defended. The ball popped out, but there was a penalty and targeting on the play, and he's going to have to leave the field and go into the protocol of whether he had a concussion. He's going to have to show he did not.
Kick off. Yaris Jackson will let that one drop. Now let's see if Georgia has an answer. We seesaw in this game. Bennett to throw, and he's got his tight end and dropped it.
Dropped it.
John Fitzpatrick would have had a big gainer. Didn't take the ball with him.
Perfect call. Great execution. Fake the pitch. Fitzpatrick is wide open. He's not going to score, but it's a nice 20-yard gain and get you out of your own 25-yard line to answer. And now it's 2nd and long. It does appear Stetson's shoulder is fine, right?
That was a good throw.
Yes,
the one down the middle in the previous series was as well. Burton in motion for Georgia to the bottom of the screen on 2nd down and 10. Bennett going to go deep middle, man out there. Just overshot Kearis Jackson.
Had an opportunity. You got to make a couple of those throws. This is one where this time Florida busts. No safety in the middle of the field, and you got a chance for a huge play, and we saw that in the Alabama game. He overthrew a guy deep down there, and this time he does it again. A play that is a touchdown cannot be made.
Now the situation Georgia did not want to put themselves in. 3rd down and 10. Bennett rushes getting to him. He got away somehow. Threw it to Zamir White, who got it across the 30, but Brad Stewart brought him down at the 31, and it's 4th down.
Well, for Georgia, it hasn't been pretty. Since they took a 14-0 lead, they've had 4 possessions, 4 punts, 1 first down.
And 1 interception return for a score, or they wouldn't have 21 points. So Camarda to punt. He'd like to really get a hold of one here to try to flip the field at the 7-minute mark of the quarter. And he did. Whoa, nice punt. Was it too good? Tony gathers it at about the 5, and Georgia's there to meet him. So the punt was deep. The coverage was excellent. There's his numbers, and we're not even to halftime. He's going to throw again on a quick slant and got it complete out to the 19 to Shorter.
Well, this was all the way at RPO. This is a read all the way. He's reading those linebackers and 7, puts it into the running back's stomach, and watch him just look. Oh, the linebackers are up close. I'm going to go right behind him. That's modern football. How about that? First down from inside the 5. Yeah, just
all of a sudden you're at the 19, right?
Exactly.
Hand off to Tony, trying to reverse his field, doing a lot of moving, but going down at the 14. Nice job by Georgia's defense. Jermaine Johnson made the tackle. A little earlier we asked you the Aflac trivia question. Kyle Trask on a roll. And who did he join in that group with 4+ touchdown passes in 4 straight games? Johnny Manziel, who won a Heisman. And Tua Tagovailoa, that almost won a Heisman. Pretty good company.
Yep. These are college players.
Yep. 2nd and 13. Trask. And he's got a man. Breaking a tackle is Pierce. And Pierce has got a big gainer out near midfield.
Poor angle that time from the Georgia safety. He had him lined up, a running back on a pass. The receiver is looking back for the ball. He's got him in his sights. Misses the tackle. Every little thing against these great athletes, you got to square them up or they're going to just spin right out of it.
Again, Georgia missing some people. Richard LeCounte and Lewis Seen, who went out with a targeting call here in this quarter. But
up front,
you keep talking about them being, we keep talking about Georgia being the #1 defense. They got annihilated by Alabama, and they're getting ripped pretty good right here in the first half. Malik Davis that time. Short game.
Well, I mean, watch them on tape, they look good.
I know they do.
But so does
What did
Florida.
Alabama have? 564.
Well, they did, but the game was close for a while. But I will say this, in modern college football, offense wins. Period. Offense wins. If you're good on offense, we saw it last year in the SEC championship game with LSU. Georgia came in with a good defense. You've got to be able to score points, modern football.
And number 11 looking a little bit like Joe Burrow did a year ago so far in the first half of the season for Florida. Trask throw over the middle, and Tony dropped it, had it right in his hands, looking to make a move, I think, and took his eye off the ball for a second. Georgia defense Did a great job in the first couple of weeks. Tennessee, those were 2 quick strikes to Palmer from Garantano. And then Alabama, Mac Jones does what Mac Jones does. No touchdowns to Kentucky. And right now they're a touchdown down as Florida scored 4.
In the pregame show, I thought Rick Heisman made a good point. If you're going to beat Alabama, you better be ready to score points, because they're going to score points.
This is a big 3rd down for Georgia at the 2.5-minute mark. Trying to get a stop. The 31 is Davis.
Call on 3rd and long, isn't it? They're going to go field goal here. I would assume they would.
You got a field goal kicker that's been good. He's been perfect so far anyway. Didn't play last week, but he's 5 for 5.
Just thinking out loud, I mean, if they have Pitts available, do they still run that play? Or is he thinking, you know, we're not as good without him. We're not as able to spread out that defense. I think I like the opportunity here for a 50-yard field goal, I guess.
Evan McPherson from 50. 5 for 5 on the year. His career long is 55, so he's got the range to try to add to the Florida lead. And he blasted that one.
Sure did.
50-yard field goal by McPherson, and the lead goes to 10. Kyle Trask, who's been huge, over 300 yards passing, and he said, we'll take 3 when we can get it. Florida by 10.
So most of the Georgia fans after the Kentucky game was going, that was a good win. We kind of understand it. You ran the ball to get a win in that football game. But is that enough to beat Florida? Can we really do that? And no, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not. They need to do more. So now you're in a 2-minute situation here. You know, I mean, the last 6 times Florida's had the ball, they have 4 touchdowns, a field goal, and a pick 6. Okay, so they haven't even had to punt here. They made 1 mistake. So do you let Stetson Bennett go here? Or do you say, let's get to halftime and figure something out when there's a lot more time? Remember, Florida gets the ball to start the second half.
Georgia has 75 yards passing. Kyle Trask has 312 yards passing.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Bennett down the middle. Well, he had his guy, and Washington dropped it. Darnell Washington, the freshman tight end.
One of the things I was saying before is they got to help out the quarterback. I mean, you know, this is a walk-on quarterback. No one expected at Georgia this guy to be playing. He's hung in there. You know, 1 loss on the year. Make an argument they don't beat Arkansas without this guy. Right. But you got to come up with some tough catches. That's another catch they could have made to help the quarterback. Did not come down with the football.
Clock stop with 1:40. Georgia has 2 timeouts remaining. 2nd down and 10. Burton comes in motion toward the line of scrimmage on the right side. Bennett trying to scan the field. He's not going to have enough time. Dropped. And it's Brenton Cox, and he'll celebrate that, I'm sure. Although his helmet came off and he might be done for a play. Former Georgia player gets the sack.
All right, I think it was a pretty good coverage. Playing zone defense, nobody really confidently to throw the ball, maybe late here, but by that time the pass rush had already got to Stetson Bennett. He moves up in the pocket. Remember, when he moves up, those tall defensive linemen give him problems. That time he couldn't see Burton.
Cox did take off his own helmet. You saw it there, so he comes out for at least a play. 3rd down and 10.
Something safe, something to the outside, a screen, something, a little swing pass. Don't want him thrown over the middle right now.
They've missed their last 4.
They're taking time off the clock as much as they can. I'm surprised Florida isn't taking a timeout. I think Dan just says, I'll take 31 and go to halftime.
Now the play clock down to 3. Bennett going to go deep on the sideline for Landers, and he overshot him.
You can always, and listen, I'm not criticizing Stetson Bennett. He's doing as good as he can, but you can always, I was told when I was coaches, when you're throwing long on deep balls, you're a little bit nervous. You're trying to make sure you don't get a ball picked off. Yep. You're just giving it a little bit. You know, throwing long is really being too conservative when you overthrow guys deep. So, you know, it's tough out here. It's a good, you know, a lot of at stake, and not a lot of experience for Stetson Bennett.
They come on.
Oh no!
After a great punt the previous time. This one.
That's going to be inside the 50-yard line, I think, Brad.
Short field for Florida with 2 timeouts remaining.
It is.
Ooh.
And that's when everybody, I don't know, you'd think that should be as easy
And
as you
he
can
knew
do it. Yep,
as soon as he
right
hit
away.
it. That one was 40 yards shorter than the last one.
Yep.
Kadarius Toney has not been a big factor in the passing game. He's in a slot on the left side. Trask back to throw, throws short, and going to be Whittemore, who got, I think, a first down. They're going to move it. Yep, first down.
So Azeez Ojulari's a big-time pass rusher, but a good job being done by this Florida offensive line. Pushing him to the outside, that's good protection by Forsythe.
Ojulari leading the SEC in sacks. His little brother is second in the SEC in sacks. First down, 34 seconds. Trask, plenty of time, pumps once, throws late. Monty Rice breaks it up.
Yeah, he's going to get called for holding, though. That's a tough matchup for Monty Rice. He's got Kadarius Toney, and I don't blame him, grabbing anything he could.
Just when I said Toney hasn't been a factor in the receiving game, he draws the penalty.
Well, he hasn't in the 3 previous games against Georgia. Now, he's been nicked. He isn't what he used to be now, but he's had 6 touches for 25 yards coming into this game.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 32, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now remember, you're a linebacker. You've got, maybe number 3 coming across, and oh, I got number 1, and I grab a hold, and it is the face mask. I'm grabbing anything I can, and it ends up being the face mask.
If he didn't get the face mask call, it would have been interference.
Yep.
So 30 seconds still remain. 2 timeouts for the Gators. Here's Malik Davis spinning his way down around the 18. See if Florida takes time.
They did very quickly, right? Even before he hit the ground, Dan Mullen was calling timeout on that play. No, excuse me, Brad. No blitzing so far, and no pressure on the quarterback. Couple, but no sacks. Slight pressures, I'd say.
Trask has had plenty of time. Late throw to Toney, trying to bring him down. They do.
Another timeout.
A yard shy of the first down.
Well, we do know if Kyle Pitts was in this game, what would be called now? There'd be a jump ball in the end zone.
Yeah, right. And Trask has just been sitting back there, taking his time.
And even when they do get a push at him, it doesn't bother him. He doesn't feel that garbage in front of him. He just steps in and makes a calm throw.
He's calmly thrown it for 327 and 3 right now. Now they come with some pressure, but the ball goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Trevon Grimes.
My goodness.
Tyson Campbell was there, but the throw was perfect. The grab maybe even better.
6'3", Grimes. Remember, he played behind 4 NFL receivers last year. Gets his chance and makes the catch. So far, Georgia's dropping the balls. Florida is not.
At the beginning of the game, we highlighted Trevon Grimes because we said you can worry and double team about Toney and Pitts all you want, but the other guys over there aren't hamburger meat either, including this guy. An extra point upcoming for McPherson.
Remember what this Florida receiving group lost. Van Jefferson, Jonathan Swain, Tyreek Cleveland, and Josh Hammond, all in the NFL, and they've just reloaded with new receivers again.
Wow, what a half between Florida and Georgia. It's the end of the first half. And get Jamie's interview with Coach Smart at SEC on CBS, but right now we take it to Zook and the guys in our New York studio. We're just about set to start the third quarter in Jacksonville. Florida will get the football first. And Kyle Trask with another 4-touchdown day, his 5th straight game of 4 or more, and we still have 2 quarters to play. But if Georgia doesn't find an answer for number 11, the inside track to the SEC championship from the East looks like it'll be from Gainesville. So a long way to go. We welcome you back to the booth. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jamie down on the sideline Got to ask you, Kyle Trask, we can talk about him all we want, but does Georgia go to a different quarterback?
I think, you know, maybe start out a couple series, see what happens, but I would get Dewan Mathis a few playing time here, see what happens. I mean, long range, you go to a scholarship player and see what he can do. The story of the game, we started out being third down, obviously Kyle Trask, but in this game, Florida's been making third down, and Georgia has not, and that's 8 possessions for Florida. In the whole game last year, they only had 8 possessions. That's a big difference. They're getting off the field.
Georgia has 5 completions for 75 yards. Kyle Trask has 20 completions for 341 yards and looking for more, and he's got about 15 more completes to Gamble, the other tight end, as we check in with Jamie.
But Brad, unfortunately, Kyle Trask will be without Kyle Pitts the remainder of this game. Dan Mullen just told me he is out. He would not disclose, but it did look like head or neck or concussion to us in the first half. Also on the offensive line, Stuart Reese, they will be without him for the remainder of the game.
So they lose their right guard. Thanks, Jamie.
And that's the 12th pass, Brad, for more than 10 yards so far for Kyle Trask in this game.
First down from the 39, and the RPO is another dart for 13 more to Trayvon Grimes.
And you know, we saw Tua Tagovailoa do that so many times for Alabama with accuracy on the RPO. When you put it in the winning spot, I mean, that's a winning spot to a wide receiver. Low, you know you're not going to get hit. That's unstoppable. It's just, frankly, unstoppable. The value of a quarterback in the passing game in college football has never been greater. I know running's important, but I'll take a guy in a wheelchair that can throw.
And this guy has really been ripping it. 368 right now. He's going to try another one. Down the middle, a little bit high, but Tony drags it down anyway. Kadarius Toney and another Florida first down.
You know, and it gets contagious. When you start moving the ball and making all those catches, there's no such thing as a bad throw. It's your turn to make a great catch. And that time it was Toney climbing up to make the great catch. It was Pitts. It was Grimes. Now it's Toney.
All over the place. Doesn't matter who it is right now. At the 35. 3 receivers to Kyle Trask left. He spent very little time under center. He looked like he was coming up there right now, but back to the gun. This time they do hand off to Pierce, only about a yard.
One of the things when the pass offense is working well, Ness, is it's hitting all parts of the field. Throwing the ball, and a deep ball, he throws accurately. We saw Stetson miss some throws. Kyle has not been missing the deep balls. 4 for 4 to the left and 3 for 3 to the right.
That one little miscue over there on the left was basically on the right side of the field there. Stokes on the interception return for the touchdown.
You don't even remember those, right?
The receiver carried that one right into the defensive back for Georgia, and Georgia's down 2 defensive backs with Seen out to the targeting, LeCount out to injury, and it'll bring up third down here. The opening series for Florida, the first half trends. First time Zamir White touches it. 75 yards for a touchdown. 4+ touchdown passes in 5 straight games. That's a new record. And combined first half points, the most ever in this series. It goes back to 1915.
Got a feeling this is a must stop, and I think Georgia has to bring some players on this one. They've got to put some pressure on Trask.
They do. He had a throw off his back foot, and finally an incompletion and a stop. So Gary called it. They brought the heat, and it paid off that time.
Yeah, there's no way. They're not defending him. You might as well try to get to the quarterback before he can throw it. Trask knows he does not have it protected. He backs up, and then just throws to a spot. And obviously the receiver went inside when he threw it outside.
Nolan Smith put the heat on. This one is going to be 51.
Yep, Georgia had to have a must stop, and they got it. Let's see if they can dodge a field goal here.
Jacob Finn to hold Evan McPherson to try to hit his second 50+ yard field goal of the day. Hasn't missed yet this year. Still hasn't missed. Wow, what a weapon to have.
Man, that's good from 60. It might be a little bit downwind, but he hit it dead straight.
51-yard field goal, and on the opening series of the third quarter, the Gators tack on more and lead by 20. Did this one go out of bounds before it got to the goal line?
It did.
It did.
Yes, it did.
So Georgia's going to have good field position. Stetson Bennett's numbers to this point, and
you know, and it gets amplified even more when the other guy's throwing for as much as he does.
Yeah.
You know, in the Alabama game and in the Florida game, we're like, okay, you know, I mean, why couldn't it be like the last few years, 7, 17, and 17 points? But this is a different Florida team.
Zamir White for 4, maybe 5. Slayton off the defensive line along with Kyrie Campbell in on the stop. Zamir might end up with 100 yards rushing by default because he got 75 on the first snap of the game.
So what does D'Wan Mathis bring to the table? What did they see him in camp? Well, if they had much of a camp this year, we don't even know, right? But what did they see that he got the starting job the first game?
Maybe this, and maybe that. And Mathis has a first down.
There you go. You tie a little bit of that together, couple play action passes, score 1 touchdown and see what happens. That's how you got to look at this. 1 series at a time. Brenton Cox goes for the handoff. Remember I said if I'm playing against Bennett, I'm going for the handoff every time. With this guy, I don't think so. I think he may try to keep more.
Remember, he came in and had to have surgery, brain surgery, on a cyst in his head, so he missed a whole year, and then came back and just had to get healthy enough to play football again. So give him credit for hanging in there. James Cook run was not enough of a pluck, only about a yard. Brings up 2nd down and 4. Kyle Trask to the running backs that Gary was talking about. That's good. Got to be a nice calm feeling over there sitting really with a 20-point lead.
Yeah, it is really one of the techniques that Dan Mullen has in his offense. He's always had it. He free releases his running backs out of the backfield, forces you, those linebackers, to cover him fast. If you don't, you're running down the field chasing a guy.
Kendall Milton in the backfield, play fake. Mathis going to air it out long. And he overshot everybody down around the 5-yard line. It was Demetrius Robertson who was the intended receiver.
You see D'Wan Mathis right there. He goes, he knows he missed it. He missed the open receiver. He had the tight end on the pop pass right away. He looked at the bench and said, I know I missed him.
Oh, man.
And I went the other side, and that's guessing. You know, you haven't played a lot. You're looking for a big play, and instead of going through your progression, you go to the outside guy who's in one-on-one coverage, looks at the bench, and goes, I got it, I messed up.
And Darnell Washington's not easy to miss.
No,
the freshman
6'7".
tight end, 6'7". Well, Mathis flushed out of the pocket by Cox. Going to run for it. I don't know if he got there or not. We'll see where they mark it.
I think he's going to get it.
Could be. That'll be his 2nd first down run of this series. Had a 17-yarder earlier, and now he needed 4 and got there, put his left hand out with the ball. I think that's what got it for him.
He had to get out of there because Brenton Cox, number 1, took an inside rush and won on that play from Salyer. Excuse me, against McClendon, I believe it was, number 70.
We're calling it 4th and inches. I'll go with that. I'll go with the truck. That's how much, as you look from the sticks and the chain gang and the 2 lines, and Mathis in a shotgun. So this makes it a 6-yard gain just to get inches if you're going to go and play it this way to Zamir White or to the quarterback. And it's the quarterback, and he got it this time. They actually ran about 7 yards to get a 1.5 feet.
Well, we all think back to that short yardage goal line stand a couple years ago. Remember when Florida had like 7 plays inside the 2-yard line? So you got to believe Georgia was working on their short yardage and goal line offense in anticipation of what they need, and they picked a play that worked.
4 minutes remaining in the quarter. Corner blitz coming. Milton on a handoff straight up the middle. And Milton's got it down around the 20-yard line and a Georgia first down, and he might be hurt at the end of that play.
Well, they gashed him. They had the right play on. You're bringing the slot blitz from the field. All you got to do is get 1 crease. Remember, there's 1 less safety back there. And this time, good job by Ben Cleveland, 74. Just rooted his man out, and Milton runs right behind the right guard's block.
And you see, kind of did the splits when he tried to stretch it out, being tackled. And once he got up, he went down in a hurry.
Yeah, that left leg.
Picked up 19 yards. 4 first downs on this drive, a couple by the Georgia quarterback.
Got a good matchup down here. Big receiver against the linebacker.
James Cook for a couple to the 20. And the clock's going to work its way down around a minute and a half. Stetson Bennett, if you're just joining us, started the game. Was roughed up a little bit, went to the locker room, came back, threw a couple more good passes, but ended up only 5 out of 16. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and thus is the reason Juwan Mathis is in there playing quarterback.
So the question is, can they run it all the way in, or are they going to have to throw a little bit more? Remember, they got the quarterback run as well as part of their package with Mathis.
And he dropped the ball on the snap, so he's got to cover it. And a big loss back outside the 25.
Second drop by the Georgia quarterback in the game. Stetson Bennett dropped one early. And that one, perfect snap. Trey Hill has had some struggles, but those two, one earlier and that one, were perfect.
Looked like in that picture, and it was a great shot, that he took his eye, just looked to the right a little bit, and he dropped the ball. And now it's 3rd down and what they didn't want, 14. And so far on 3rd down and 8+, they're 0 for. Two-down territory here, I would think, anyway. So get some of it back. Mathis. Or get all of it. And he got it. Touchdown, Georgia. Kearis Jackson.
Well, Florida was trying to disguise so much they ran right out of the coverage. Watch the disguise, and when he bails, he actually opens up the area behind him. And that's the throw right into the middle of the field. You're trying to fake the quarterback so much, you end up making a mistake. Sean Davis just a little bit too much to the quarterback and opens it up for an easy throw. By the way, the offensive line gave Mathis plenty of time to step into that throw.
Todd Lesney's extra point is good. An 80-yard drive for Georgia. Just what they needed to inch back into the game. And with 41 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, Juwan Mathis has his first touchdown pass of the year to cap an 80-yard drive in 12 plays. Kearis Jackson, by the way, 2nd touchdown catch of the year for Kearis. He's been whatever quarterback's in there for Georgia's favorite receiver.
No, and these numbers sometimes look ugly. When one's a 4 and one's a 2, but it's 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
I mean, you know, you can't get down right here.
And Kamara to blast this one out of the back of the end zone. So Trask lofts it out, and again out of the backfield they're going to get an easy one for 11.
Those free releases are really driving this Georgia defense nuts. Instead of the running back checking for a blitz, he just goes. And if Trask sees an opening, he lets them have it. I can't believe that's not a bust. I mean, when you got a running back coming out that early, 10 yards of field in front of him, someone made a mistake.
The high-powered Gator offense has been too much for Georgia so far. The Dogs did have an answer, though, to make it 41-28 at the end of 3. We'll return to Jacksonville right after this message and a word from your local station. The Home Depot SEC on CBS heads into quarter number 4 in Jacksonville. And the Florida Gators have it under control right now, but we still got 15 minutes left. And Georgia scored the last time they had it, 41-28.
And I do like the way they're coming back here. You know, we got this lead by throwing it. We got a good quarterback. Let's trust him. Take the clock down as long as we go, and let's move the ball and put this thing away.
Take it down to 2 seconds. Trask comes up, getting ready to throw it. Oh, and almost picked off by Webb.
Absolutely.
It might have been a touchdown.
He double clutched it and allowed Webb to sneak in there. That easily could have been a pick 6.
Wow.
So you got to trust your quarterback. When he double clutches it, he knows as soon as he throws it, he goes, oh my goodness. And Webb, oh, and he's not even, nobody's going to touch him into the end zone on that play.
So 7 minutes, and those two Georgia fans know that that might have been just what the Dogs ordered to even think about getting back in this game.
My goodness. Hang in there. You never know if you're Georgia.
Trask under center for one of the few times. And they keep it on the ground to Davis, and he stood up for maybe a yard gain. It's 3rd down and long.
I think Dan Mullen goes, Kyle, I know you're really good. But so far, I've looked at their quarterbacks, and we're running the ball right now.
That's
we're
right.
not giving you another chance to throw a pick.
Well, he's got a career high day going of 453 right now. They have 86 yards on the ground. It looks like that stat of who has the most rushing yards isn't going to matter today after 14 straight years. Even though Georgia had one long run by Zamir White, who has 106 yards on 7 carries.
4-man rush, playing combo coverage behind it. 4 on 3 at the top, 3 on 2 on the bottom.
Georgia's got to have a stop on 3rd and 9. They got some pressure again. Trask throws and completes it to Tony, and he's still going. Kadarius Toney, his biggest play of the day.
I think so. And it's going to take, unless Georgia uses their timeouts, it's going to take another almost 2.5 minutes off the game. Good protection. Good job by Trask getting out. And then Tony reaches up, makes the play.
21-yard pickup for number 1, who's so dangerous in the open field.
Once he caught it, the rest didn't really matter.
That's right. His 8th catch, but the biggest one so far right there. First down at the 34. As we'll work our way under 5.5 minutes before the next snap.
We're going to run the ball here too.
Davis might have gotten a yard.
Got to start using your timeouts if you're Kirby Smart, and he did.
Here comes one.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Florida's going to be going to 4-1 unless something drastic happens in the next 5 minutes. Trask almost threw an interception again. Copeland was the intended receiver.
Tried to go to the back coming out of the backfield, but this time the Georgia knocked him out of the way. Watch him as he comes out. Malik Davis gets taken out of the play by Jermaine Johnson. So he comes to his next receiver and almost sticks it into coverage. They were going to throw a safe pass, but Jermaine Johnson made it into a dangerous throw.
Here's 3rd down and long again. Look out for Davis, who's with him in the backfield. It's been one of his main targets today. And they're just going to give it to Davis. He'll get it inside the 30 to the 28. It's 4th down there.
Florida will go field goal.
You got a good quarterback, you got a good chance.
Yeah,
and Florida's got a good quarterback.
Well, they're going to keep him on the field. They're going to try to draw him off sides, I wonder. Or they just going to try to pick it up.
4th down and 4. They empty the backfield. They are going to go for it. Trask hit as he throws. Incomplete.
Interesting.
Aziz Ojolari got in there and caused the throw, and then Tyreek Stevenson was close on the other end of that.
I'll tell you this. Good blitz coverage. It wasn't a complicated blitz. That's really the Mike linebacker. Should be handled by the offensive line. It was not sorted out well. Monty Rice is in there. But I will say this. Without Kyle Pitts on the field, this Florida team's a different football team.
Remember, he was on the receiving end of a targeting in the first half. Did not return. Has not returned. Hopefully he'll be back for the next game. And now here's Georgia with 5:06, one timeout, trailing by 13. They need 2 scores. And 5:06 left. Draw play, James Cook.
Anytime Florida holds Georgia short of a first down, it's a win for the defense.
This is when Georgia's got to regroup now and hustle a little line. Before they had a little more time, not so much anymore. Mathis trying to run away from the pressure and ends up running out of bounds. Run out by Kyrie Campbell.
I think he was trying to get the ball to James Cook, and James Cook never turned around and looked for it on that play. Cook was trying to go. Watch Cook come out of the backfield right there and just keeps going. Well, he does look. He's right, but it was too late. Mathis was already coming out of the backfield. My mistake.
Cook is one of those guys that can really make something happen in the open field if he gets his hands on it. We've seen that through the first 5 games of the Georgia season. And he's with Mathis in the backfield here on 3rd down and 8.
Oh, he comes after him.
Deep ball sideline. Overshot Landers again.
Well, they're going to go for it.
This might be the last time they touch it offensively if they don't go on 4th and 8.
Well, Todd Grantham said, I played that other stuff. I'm coming after you. Just can't do it. I just can't do it.
Just saw the ball sail over Todd's head over there on the sideline. All right. Here's Georgia's maybe last chance.
Inside technique at the top, man-to-man coverage.
3 receivers to the left. Mathis flushed, has to just throw off his back foot and hope for a prayer, and he ended up throwing an interception to Sean Davis. And Davis coming back the other way. Davis weaving through traffic inside the 20. And with all the offense Florida's had through the year, their defense might have just iced things against the Bulldogs.
Well, Todd Grantham on 3rd and 4th down brought pressure. He went man-to-man coverage. He goes, guys, we're either going to cover them or we're going to lose. So they man up all over, pressure inside. Mathis has no choice but to just try to lob it up. Can't take a sack on 4th down, and he finds number 6 for Florida.
And Sean Davis, who didn't play a week ago, has his first interception of the season. And with just 3 and change remaining, Georgia quarterback, as Kirby's still coaching him up, whether it's the starter or the backup.
The Georgia quarterback has been the position for 3 years around.
Career high in completions, by the way, too, for Kyle Trask. 30, he just hit it. Right now under center for one of the few times. Handoff, Kadarius Toney on an end around. He got a yard. Monty Rice wrestles him to the ground. And Georgia can't stop it anymore. So the Gators are going to go to their ground game. This will be the first time in 3 years, first time in 4 years actually, that Georgia hasn't won this game. And if Florida holds serve, if you will, we'll have a different champion from the East playing in Atlanta on December 19th in the SEC championship game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
They'd have to lose 2, right?
Yep.
And Georgia would have to win the rest.
Possible, but really not that likely as far as.
Well, that'd be a huge upset. Florida lose 2 games.
Yeah. Playing as well as they are offensively, and the defense isn't that bad now either. Starting to come around.
I will say this, you remember the start of the year, yes, we do that Mississippi State LSU game, and then Arkansas, and wins a game, and we're going, wow, parity is back. And parity is not back in the SEC.
No, not really.
Same teams, same guys.
But in this case, maybe a different East against, if everything holds, Alabama.
Right, but it's,
But if it gets to that, how about the quarterback matchup we would have?
Wow, that would be fun.
We might be there 4.5 hours, but it's not a long ride home for some. 3rd and 6. Pierce runs into the Georgia wall defensively. He got to the 10-yard line. And giving Florida the win. They'll go to the head of the class at 4-1. Georgia falls to 4-2.
And remember, as you look at that, for Georgia, the only measurement now, and you live around her, right? The only measurement now is national championship, right? Yeah. Anything less than that, and that's where the program is right now, and that's how they're measured.
Ever since the second half of the Alabama game, all the talk around Georgia was, we'll get them again, and we'll have another crack at them in the SEC title game, and that probably is not going to happen now. 34-yard field goal by McPherson. Trying to give him a little more confidence back after just missing one earlier. He hit from 50 and 51 earlier in the ball game. And now his hit from 34. With 1:19 to go. 44-28. Talk about quarterbacks. This guy
Well, remember,
and Mac are having a heck of a season in the SEC.
Remember, Kyle Trask was not a highly recruited player. Doug Nussmeier, former offensive coordinator at Florida, had him in a camp, liked him, said, I think he can play. One of those project quarterbacks, you get him in there, and what Kyle did is went to work. You know, when he didn't start his first couple of years, he just kept working to get better, and when he got his shot, he was ready.
And when he got his first start, we were there. Yes. We kidded him. We didn't kid him, but he didn't start at high school behind Eric King. So he said, yeah, I haven't started, so what? He kind of laissez-faire about everything, and now he is putting up huge numbers in this Florida offense. Come on, Mathis. Again, flushed out of the pocket. Caught by James Cook on a deflection.
Huh. It was like the third bounce, wasn't it?
Yeah. Elam had his hands on it.
He did.
That one's just coming to him, but Cook got a hand to tip it.
Then Elam, and then he bats it back to Cook.
Okay, here you go. I'll tip it back to you. They play volleyball there for a second.
What? No.
Nope.
Yo.
Oh, no.
What?
First down. Nope, not first down. Pick up a 4. Throw short to Cook. Nice open field tackle, James Cook. Trevez Johnson, the freshman, back there getting some playing time, true freshman. Georgia out of timeouts. 3rd down and 5 with 47 seconds remaining. Mathis in trouble, and down he goes. And the Florida defense, and now Kyle Trask has just done this most of the game, trying to fire up the Florida fans who have not left here. The Georgia fans not so much, but these guys are having fun. Of the about 9,000 tickets that each team got today, at least we had noise both ways, something we haven't really had.
And you had the feeling season. Also, if not this year, when, right? With the quarterback problems that Georgia was having.
Mathis fires. This one is intercepted. And that'll ice it as Amari Burney, the outside linebacker, picks it off. And just about the whole Florida bench comes out there to congratulate him. Todd Grantham gets a bucket. Defensive coordinator, who was defensive coordinator at Georgia for 3 years. And there it is. The streak is stopped at 3 as Dan Mullen gets a big win over Georgia. I don't know if you can call it an upset just because of the rankings. Number 8 beats number 5, 44-28. Good ball game. There's Kirby Smart, Dan Mullen at midfield.
Well, especially the way it started, 14-0.
Yeah.
Come back like that. You know, I mean, we thought for sure Georgia had the head start. And would there be enough to come back? And as we said many times, modern college football, you got a quarterback, you're never out of it.
44-28 the final. That's going to wrap it up. For Garrett Danielson and Jamie Erdahl, Brad Nessler saying so long. Final score, 8th ranked Florida 44, number 5 Georgia 28. College football postgame show presented by Rocket Mortgage coming up after these messages. So long and good night from Jacksonville.